Right, we're ready to start our next session. So without further ado, I'd give the mic to Tola. So our next keynote speaker is Akin Odumakinde. And yeah, I'll leave it to Tola. He'll explain further. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. How's the break and the other breakout sessions? I'm sure you had fun. I'll just read a quick citation for Engineer Akin Odumakinde. Engineer Akin Odumakinde is a graduate of chemical engineering from the University of California, Davis, with over 20 years' experience in the oil and gas industry. 5 years of this experience was acquired in the exploration and production section of the United States of America oil and gas industry, with other 15 years dedicated to participating in several private sector initiatives geared towards local capacity building in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. He began his career with Chevron Refinery in Richmond, USA, where he was engaged as a summer chemical engineer between July and September in 1987, before proceeding to Dow Chemicals in the US. In order to contribute to local capacity in Nigeria, he floated DeltaAfrik Engineering Limited, an integrated engineering solutions provider in the oil and gas and process industry in 1993. Following DeltaAfrik's engineering's immense success under his leadership, he pioneered other companies including DSV Pipetronic Limited, Prime Atlantic, and DeltaAfrik, where he serves as Vice President, Operations Director, and Founder and CEO, respectively. The successful technical partnership of DeltaAfrik with Wally Parsons has attracted foreign direct investment of over $80 million, leading to the formation of a new joint venture company called DeltaAfrik Engineering. DeltaAfrik is one of the leading Nigerian design, engineering, procurement, and construction management companies, maximizing the Nigerian Local Content Act. Engineer Akin has handled projects worth over $1 billion for major joint investment operators such as Chevron, Adax, Total, ExxonMobil, and other companies. Everyone, I give to you, Engineer Akin Odumakinde.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to scan through my presentation, then dovetail as we go along a case study, which is basically my experience in West Africa and for entrepreneur who wants to run a successful business in Africa. The general, my guys were putting this together for me and trying to define what is success. Basically, we say success is, you see wealth, you see fame, you see power, or business branches, network in Africa, you see impacting people and your influence. And then we come down to success, achieving your set goals and objectives as planned, arriving at your desired destination as planned, making progress in your quest to finishing set goals, overcoming failure. These things, when you wake up and you decide that, yes, I want to set up business, my experience, I stumbled on my business opportunity that I'm currently running. As I was in the US, I started focusing predominantly in the oil and gas. And then one day I just got tired. And I was living well, and but the so-called success, American success, wasn't quite in me. I was riding a Porsche, I was single, had my home, on a middle class, and I'm a firm believer, in supernatural. Sometimes you don't know where you're going, but something is guiding you. My company, Aqua Oil and Gas, says go to Alaska, and I chose not to go to Alaska. I was laid off. I got a severance package. I saw money I have never seen before. And I had a friend today, he's a president of one of my subsidiaries, who encouraged me, moved into my home, paying about $800 a month out of my $1,600 mortgage a month. And I just took my 3 suitcases. I came to Nigeria. no place to stay. I got a friend who housed me for 15 months. But power of networking, power of relationship. He put a roof over me, and he got bugged with my vision. And we started transforming ideas, exchanging ideas. And a lot of people around us did not believe what I was articulating, how it could be implemented. So the status quo, I have to find a way to move away from status quo. Status quo for me was where I was coming from. I saw a lot of opportunities. They saw challenges. And they felt, you're going to just, this is one simple thing, your time. I was dollar-denominated minded, and the people around me were naira-denominated minded. I have to pay my bills in dollars. And so when I put one and two together, at this time, this was 2003, dollar was 22 naira to a dollar. And so all my business prospects were based in dollars in a naira-denominated community. But he worked, but it took 15 months. For Nigeria, 15 months is fast. And it is 15 months of sleepless night. It is 15 months of living your dream and almost feeling, real, tangible. And when I sent my proposal out to this particular client, he was to offer an environmental laboratory to the Niger Delta agency. And the gentleman listened to me, and he gave me an opportunity. He extended the bid by a week, and I came back with a nice proposal. And he's a professor of genetics on sabbatical assignment as a commissioner for environment for Niger Delta Development Commission. And he read it, and he called his people. And what was interesting was our president today was the deputy director of Niger Delta Commission. That was his project. We won this project $2 million, and I was paid 50% upfront. And the rest is history. 15 months. In terms of time, this was 20 years ago. We started it, we got paid, a year and a half later. And what happened was, I now went back to the mainstream of building what I know how to, because the banks could trust me. And then I realized I needed to build capacity. We started by building capabilities in Nigerians, recruiting Nigerians, and then telling the government, in this case NNPC, what we believe is the right thing to do for our industry. Because at this time, they were not employing Nigerians. Only few projects have been done in Nigeria, and predominantly capital flight, with less employment in the industry. So we became the early drivers of local content, and from there, ExxonMobil, Chevron started listening. And in 1999, we won our first project, which was with Parsons, now Wally Parsons. And 10% of this work had to be done in Nigeria. We thought it was a breakthrough. We had brownfield done in Nigeria. We have 15 Nigerians sent to Houston. It was an 18-month project. This project grew to about $80 million. And Parsons, by the way, they never been to Nigeria. I brought Parsons to Nigeria. They won the project without stepping in Nigeria. I did all the local work to see how synergy for partnership. And when I called them to tell them they won the project, they didn't believe me. Until a week later, Chevron Houston called them for negotiation. And at the end of the project, Parsons approached me to form a joint venture. And that was how we formed DeltaAfrik. And we were the model that the industry used, because Chevron started the 51-49 model, 51 local, 49 foreign. And Parsons did not do this because of local content. Parsons' philosophy was they found a local company and they want to plant an entity in Nigeria because it makes sense to use locals to do their services. And Within 6 months of unveiling the company in 2004, we won a $1.2 billion contract. To tell you the importance of partnership, before I did that, before the partnership, I was doing $5 million contract, $10 million contract. And then you go to ExxonMobil, oh, you know what, let's try you. Let's see if you deliver on this. There was lack of trust on competence because it's a new thing. But the moment we made announcement that DeltaAfrik, a company of Delta Tech and Parsons, was formed, two things happened. Strategically, government changed the role. They were bidding this project. 60% of the work was to be in Houston, 40% was to be in Nigeria. And government of Obasanjo, Funshoku Poluku was the group managing director of NNPC. They came up with policy that brownfield work of these satellite integrity services should be now done 100% in Nigeria. KBR, Foster Wheeler, Flo Daniel, all the big tens, they bid it. But the moment government changed the role, the numbers reduced to 3. Foster Wheeler, AMEC, and us went to commercial. And we won this bid. 6 months old DeltaAfrik now has a $1.something billion project. Exxon says they need a parent company guarantee. We didn't have, but Wally Parsons offered that parent company guarantee because of trust. What I found out in business and in partnership, it is trust. Can you be trusted? These are foreign companies coming from anywhere outside of your country. You are inviting them. Can they trust you? But in this case, Wally Parsons pledged 100% guarantee. And at the board, even though it's 51-49, it's actually profit sharing of 50-50. We share the risk on a 50-50 basis. And we had moved from 1.2 billion to 2.5 billion, and it's been 7 years of service in Exxon on this particular project. And DeltaAfrik grew on an average turnover of $200 million a year in the last 4 years. This is local content. At the time we started, we were 65 when we novated all our employees to DeltaAfrik. And out of those 65 were practically Nigerians. And today, we have over 600 professional Nigerian engineers. And we have support staff. Today, our staff strength is in the range of 900. We are now doing projects. We have invested in things that we couldn't have done without the local content. And Wally Parsons believed one thing we recently did, thanks to Stan Chartered, we built the best engineering building, which could house about 1,000 employees in Nigeria. And a GNAT project is also housed in this building. And so when you look at partnership, overnight, I could be sticking with my 100% Nigerian company as Delta Tech, continue to take my $10 million, maybe maximum $50 million. And we're having profit, a dividend, the kind of dividend we're sharing was the kind of the value of a project of 5 million, 10 million. And so power of partnership. And then partnership to me in business is like marriage. And when you commit, and you commit, you're transparent. Now, for me, I do not count all these as success because success is in your mind. Success is where your destination is. There are obstacles, and we have quite a lot of them. And when I see Africa, we are now in a transition point whereby we're taking DeltaAfrik, to another level. And it's no longer going to be DeltaAfrik because partnership has limitation. Wally Parsons will not do the next thing we want to do. We want to now start competing with the likes of Saipem, with the likes of Subsea 7, And therefore, we are now moving to a new level. Two things we're doing. Not only that we are taking our business from engineering, procurement, construction management, we're now going to start taking on lump sum turnkey. The Local Content Act allows us to do this. And how are we going to do this? We went and started talking to a few banks that we believe not only have a deep pocket, but have a relevance in Africa. The second thing that we wanted to do is to now build the business from Nigeria to sub-Saharan Africa. And for the past 6-7 months, when you are going to run your business at the level of multinational, you must be transparent. You must meet all the compliance, requirements. You must open your book. In the last 6 months, we have been doing that. I heard the private equity people here. There is a major international bank that is seated in Nigeria that have decided to take equity. And the exercise of valuation and due diligence, it could be very, very tedious. We just signed a term sheet for a major bank to take 17% in our business. It's not just the money. I was listening keenly to all the things the equity guys were saying. I want to build an African company. I don't want to build a Nigerian company. And therefore, this bank is in major oil and gas countries of interest. Today, we've been in Nigeria for 20 years, in Ghana for 6 years, we're in Equatorial Guinea for close to 3 years. We just set up an office in Angola. And you see some of these banks, when we were talking earlier, that you cannot continue to run your business on a routine way of just doing things. You wake up in the morning, you start doing it. You have to be innovative. You have to be creative. You have to be proactive. And what I found out within Africa, because the difference between this is if you come as a multinational and plant a company in Africa and you don't understand the culture, you don't understand the people, you disconnect. The same country, Nigeria, KBR came to, refused to form a partnership, and they lost $10 million within 18 months. And then they packed and left. And so what we're doing is when you're a promoter, and I found out that the bank also not only is not investing in the company, it's investing in the promoter. You are the one, they told me, Akin, we are investing in you. We have watched you in the last 10 years. We've seen your turnover. We've seen how you run your business. And they brought Pricewaterhouse, Wood Mackenzie, all these big consulting firms to dissect commercial, financial, and legal of all our business. It's a good experience for me. I'm an engineer. I love to just solve problems. But it's amazing that as I do my engineering, I can't do it alone. I need the financial, backings that I require. I need the governance, being compliant, meeting the right compliance requirement that fits for purpose for international standard. What are we doing? We now want to take our company to London Stock Exchange. And now, I almost mentioned the bank's name, but I don't want to. You guys can guess who it is. They've been in Africa for over 100 years. And when you talk to HSBC, Africa is risky. You talk to other big banks here, remotely, we cannot invest in Africa, it's too risky. But this bank, even though they are multinational bank, but they are African bank. They sit down, they get their hands wet, they get into risk, identification of risk and analysis of the risk and mitigation plan. And we've worked all this together, and they are committed to invest. One thing that is very sure, which is a niche, we are now forming DeltaAfrik West Africa, Mauritius. DeltaAfrik will be just a subsidiary of DeltaAfrik West Africa, Mauritius. The bank is going to invest. And because it's Mauritius, for tax management, country by country, the tax regime for Nigeria is different from tax regime in Ghana, it's tax regime in Angola. Now, we will have that office in Dubai, and we are going to now start doing business like a multinational. Finance is no longer a problem. Aside from equity that the bank is bringing on the table, they are pledging a credit line of $500 million. This is what an African company cannot boast of, and with about less than 6% of cost of fund. For local banks, which we don't have a problem with, it does not make us competitive. But because at the level we want to operate now, we have to bring this to this, we have to get our level to this regional play, whereby we do work in Nigeria, we do work in Angola, we do work in all the oil producing areas. And when you look at our turnover of $200 million a year for DeltaAfrik, we're going to be looking at about $1 billion a year under the new umbrella. And at the end of the day, do I get what I want? Yes. Am I satisfied? Yes. Does that mean that's where the limit is? I found out, guys, that the best way of making money, if money is success for you, if you have your integrity intact, you can put any amount of money in it. One thing about Africa is when you do honest work, you do quality work, everybody is happy with what you're doing. You know, Wally Parsons' CEO sitting in Australia, Perth, called me up and said, Akin, I have a colleague, he's a CEO of this company. They've been struggling on how to do business in Africa, and I'm introducing them to you. And these are networks. What you know is what you see as DeltaAfrik. What you don't see is 80% of what makes my living. And when someone sits and said, Africa is risky, Africa is not risky. Africa is about finding the right person. Africa is about relationship. You get the right person, you partner, both win-win, because it's a win-win team. I've heard that several times today. And this is part of where the story is. I will just scan through for me. Keep going to, I've talked through, okay, driving, okay. You identify opportunity. Opportunities are many. But to me, I don't want to do Toller's calling. I want to identify my purpose. I believe I found my purpose because if you wake me up at 2 a.m., I'm ready to play. And I can play to any level. Are you frustrated? Are you druggy? Are you draggy? Are you, why are they calling me at this time? You can call me anytime, as long as you call me in my domain. When I'm in my domain, I'll play. And then develop your passion. When you develop whatever you're doing with strong passion and focus. Focus is that thing that brings blurry into focus and is tangible. When you start to live your dream today, then you can see tomorrow. And so I'm not perturbed about lack of electricity, because a lot of people will come to Africa, particularly in Nigeria. Oh, you know what? I couldn't sleep. I couldn't get to see this gentleman. I waited for 3 hours. That's the price. Coming from America, I must confess to you, my first 15 months, I was all kinds of crazy names. I don't want to say it. You get to ordinary security guard. It's very important. They can block your destiny. Yeah? A security guard, you don't pay the right homage. You don't respect them. You drive and you put on your suits and you look down on them. That could be just a delay. And that delay could be for a long time. And if you're not patient, you may just walk away from your destiny. because they will block you. So you build relationship, and then you get into the system, you do all the needful, you register your entity, you see the right people. And the ExxonMobil, the Chevron, all those are easy. But then they are minority. They're either 40% or 45%. Their senior partner is NNPC. And you can go to Abuja and spend 3 days for 20 minutes meeting. Can you stand that? Can you sustain that? Can you have the temperament for that? These are the keys to success. When you sit and wait, and some people say, no, it's too frustrated. I have many friends came and said, okay, I don't know how you're coping in Nigeria. Went back to America. Today, he wants to come back. It's too late. Competition is high. And these are key things in terms of doing business in Africa. So when you, go ahead, please. Go ahead. You build sound business structure. I just touched on that. My business structure is auditable. EY is our auditor. And if you want to trade as an international, what I call local global meaning Nigeria and global. With global mentality, but operating in Nigeria. Just because you are in Nigeria does not make you, less of a global standard performance. Everyone demands standard, global standard performance from your company. And the beauty of what I consider local global is that you take advantage of being a local with local content law protecting you, but then you are building your business on a world-class standard. This is a deal maker. You walk in there, you are talking the way the SIPEM of this world will talk. You are talking the way the subsidy of this world will talk, KBR will talk. But the only difference, guys, is I'm a Nigerian, I'm an African. And Africans listen to Africans. So if you're coming in from overseas, today, there's a paradigm shift. You want to succeed? Key into a local partner. A good one, because there are bad ones. I must confess to you, there are bad ones. And so when you sit in front of your people, there are many meetings that have been, and success is good, but to me, it's relative. Success, when you win one, you have confidence to win many, and you have confidence to talk your story, to talk about what you have done. And so at the level I play today, I don't want to make you be in control of my destiny. I want to be in charge of my destiny. We will go into the strategy room, we plan what we want to do, and then one thing in Africa is, if you are waiting for them to change for you, you're going to wait 20 years. And so you must be willing to partner them. How do you partner them? Because you've been in the system for so many years, you understand what they're doing, and you prefer solutions that are workable. So this is what I call paradigm shift, innovative way. A good example today in my country, if I wait for government to keep funding us, today, as you know, cash is depleting. NNPC is struggling to fund their own counterpart funding. And the way people are coming with ideas is on the basis of what I've just shared with you with this bank. I came to London. I say, guys, this is a challenge, but let's turn it to an opportunity. I like the CBO, challenge being opportunity, capital. He was a challenge, it could sink you. But to me, that's where your opportunity lies. And you must be able to see through it. I sat down with the bank. I said, okay, you know what? Can we do what we call contract financing? It's never been done before. Whereby you fund me because I'm bankable now. I can deliver, you trust me. When you look at my risk profile, it's low, and I can deliver. And my client knows that if given the job, they're going to deliver. Now, we're in a new initiative whereby debt to the tune of $2 billion are being offered to Nigerian companies who have the right capability to deliver. And these are multinational banks now in partnership with local banks, because in the banking sector, they also have to be local content, compliant. So fund comes from abroad in partnership with local banks, and we also, the execution of the project, also are with foreign partners to give credence to our client that we can deliver. And so these are things that we built, a structure that is auditable, that has met international standard, that could warrant anyone to say, you know what, I'm going to invest in your business. Just like I had earlier, the term sheet we sign would take the bank out, it's 5 years exit. But we want to go to London Stock Exchange. So we go to Nigerian Stock Exchange for Nigerian entity. The regional entity will go to London Stock Exchange. I already said it, winning team, partnership. Identify your team, identify your people. For what I do, the success of my business is in my people. You reward them, yeah? I've heard so many things, they're not competent. No, you need to go and identify. We go to universities, we catch them young. We develop them. He's a good product. As a Nigerian, he's selling, because how do I know my brother here? I have a foundation called Impact Your World. He was identified from Unilag. It's a first-class material. But then somebody has to show him the way, empowerment. You need to let him know there's greater is in him that he himself knows. How do you know? Because of who you are and impacting them. And these guys' mentality start to change. And then you take them outside of Nigeria and make them compete with the Western world, and they see their worth, and they come back, they take ownership. And this is working. Again, integrity currency. I said it earlier, for me, my bank account is a function of my integrity. And I have been doing consulting, I have been partnering with foreign businesses, and we come together, we join together, and we do projects together. People I don't know, but then the people that I've already partnered with already told me about them and say, you know what, you want to go to Africa? There is a good partner. Work with him. That has helped me. Yes, building solid network. That's basically what I've just said to you, partnership, networking with people, your community. What I found out is because of, look at Ghana. We've been in Ghana for 6 years. We started talking to them about local content about 3 years ago. And in December last year, they signed their local content. In Nigeria, it took 40 years before we signed a local content. In Ghana, it took about 5 years, and they have a local content. And within the next, Angola has local content. Guys, local content is not taking away from work from the foreigner. He's enhancing partnership. It cannot be the same way of doing business, where you come into our domain, and then they take everything away, and we have nothing. That is called brain drain. That's capital flight. That, Africa, with over 2 billion people, if you don't create, and we learned that 50-60% of us are in that employment age of 18 to 35 years. And if you don't start to invest in your country, there is no room. But the beauty of it, I heard it earlier, the recession in the Western world has opened up Africa. So if you keep folding your arms saying that Africa is difficult, then you're losing. Because the big corporate entities are now coming to Africa, and they need people like you. All of you that are in Cambridge Business School, I congratulate you, because the future is bright. You know why? You have to continue to do your networking. It is important that you gain at least 3 to 4 years of experience here in a company that you know has a vision for Africa. And guess who they're going to come to? It's you. And so, because we're seeing that every day, and it's working for Africa, and they're returning. Yeah? Just last week, we declare a $10 million dividend, right? And The Nigerians took their 50%, the Australians took their 50%. Win-win. And then we're delivering, and our people are gainfully employed. Because today, the ratio of expats to Nigeria is about 10 to 90. And we started from 60-40. So it shows local content is working, and Nigerians are well paid in some areas, those technical areas. So I thank you very much, and any questions I will take. Thank you very much.